Hello students, welcome to this another session. I've just solved this NEET test 97 right now, and here I am with the analysis. I have regarded 2 as tough. You might not find them tough also. 18 were easy and 25 were medium. This question number 14 answer given in the app is wrong. All in all, it's not that tough paper. It's a smooth paper. I've written many as medium that you might still feel as easy. So going by this, I still feel that you should be, let's say, coming up with at least 30 questions. So 124 plus should be easily scoreable for anyone who is looking something in physics, and those who are very good should get 160 165 plus easily in this paper. Nothing that is draconian about any question. You can easily cover up. There is a very good probability that there will be students who would be able to solve all the 45 questions in this particular test. Assuming f to be the frequency of the first line in Balmer series, the frequency of the image at next, that is the second line, will be. Now for the first line, this frequency you can say, or you can say the energy, I can write hf would be equal to 13.6 z square. First line means 1 upon 2 square minus 1 upon 3 square. Now for the second line, it would be f dash, let's say that is 13.6 z square 1 upon 2 square minus 1 upon 4 square. So just to take the ratio, so this f by f dash is 1 by 2 square minus 1 by 9, 1 by 4 minus 1 by 9, that is 5 by 36. This 1 by 4 minus 1 by 16 will come out as 3 by 16. So what it is, 5 into 16 upon 3 into 36. This is 4, this is 9, this is 20 by 27. So f dash is 27 by 20 times f, or I can write it as 1.35 times f. Go for option B in this particular case. Next one. The ionization energy of helium ion plus ion position at minimum position, that means in the ground state. So that ionization energy would be here 13.6 z square, z here is 2, so 13.6 into 2 ka square, 2 square is 4, so 13.6 into 4, that would be 54.4 electronic volt. Go for option C. Next one. You have 2 billiard balls undergoing a head-on collision. Ball 1 is twice as heavy as ball 2. Okay, that means m1 is twice of m2. Initially ball 1 is moving with speed v towards the ball 2 which is at rest. Immediately after the collision, the one travels at a speed v by 3 in the same direction. What type of collision has occurred? Okay, so if its speed is 1 by 3, let me do by momentum conservation. It would be m1 into v plus 0 would be equal to m1 into v by 3 plus m2 into, let's say, v2. So it would be 2 m1 v by 3 is equal to m2 v2. So v2 would be, because m1 is twice of m2, that is equal to 4 v by 3. Therefore I can make it out v2 minus v1 is also equal to u, that is velocity of separation is velocity of approach. It means it's a elastic collision. Go for option B. Two blocks are connected by a massless string. 30 Newton is applied on block B. The distance traveled by cm in 2 seconds starting from rest. So directly I can make it out. ACM would be F upon total mass. This is 30 by 30, that is 1 meter per second square. So I can directly say the displacement of cm, because it starts from rest, would be half ACM into t square, that is half into 1 into 2 square, that comes out as 2 meter. So again an easy one, no toughness in this, you can do this. Next. Particle are released from rest at A and slide down the smooth surface of height h to a conveyor B. The correct angular velocity of the belt of radius r to prevent any sliding of the belt as the particles transfer to conveyor is, again I think this is a repeated one. When it reaches here, because it is smooth surface, the speed when it reaches at B would be equal to root 2 gh, and that should be equal to omega times r. So omega is root 2 gh upon r for no slipping condition. So that is option C. I can make it out. Circular loop with capital N turns has radius r. It lies in the xy plane carrying current I in anti-clockwise. So if it is in anti-clockwise direction, we have that mu pointing in z direction. If the magnetic field is I cap, then find the torque. So torque would be mu, as I said, it would be in z, that would be Ni pi r square into k cap cross B naught I cap. So it is Ni pi r square B naught k cross I will give us j cap. So this is the answer I am getting. So looking at the options, it would be option A. Next. the ratio of the concentration of electrons to that four holes in a semiconductor is 7/5, ratio of current is 7/4, ratio of the drift velocities. We know I is NeVd equation. So I to E to I of holes would be N of E to N of holes. E is same, area is same, that is Vd of electron to Vd of holes. So IE by IH, that is given as 7/4, and this ratio is 7/5. So electron to hole velocity, drift velocity ratio, if you will calculate, it would be 5/4 from this equation. Go for option D directly. Next one. When the switch S is in the circuit shown is closed, then the value of current I will be, okay, when switch is closed like this, okay, what would be the value of the current? So let this potential be X. So what we can say, going by this arrow direction, the coming towards C, that is, I can write 20 minus X by 2 plus 10 minus X by 4 would be equal to the leaving one, that is X minus 0 by 2. So what we have, 10 minus X by 2 plus 10 by 4, that is 2.5 minus X by 4 is equal to X by 2. So what we have, 12.5 is equal to X plus X by 4, X by 2 plus X by 2, that is you can write as 1.25X. So that means X is equal to 10. So the current I would be, this value is current I, that would be equal to 10 by 2, 5 ampere directly you can go for. Next. Two capacitors 6 micro and 12 iron series are connected by a potential of 150. The potential of the capacity 12 1 in series, I can directly say V and 12 is inverse ratio because of its Q being same, that would be 6/6 plus 12 into 150, that is 150 by 3, which comes out as 50 volt. Go for option B, simple potential division you have to do. Next. Two identical metal plates are given positive charges Q1 and Q2. Q2 is lesser than Q1. If they are now brought close to form a parallel plate capacitor with capacitance Z, potential differences. So what we can do, when they are brought closer, this is a charge Q1, this is a charge Q2. We say here the charge distributed on the rightmost plate is, leftmost is this one and rightmost is also this one. So what we are left here, the charge here would be Q1 minus Q2 by 2, and here would be equal to minus of Q1 minus Q2 by 2 you can do. So this would be the effective charge on the capacitor. This will only generate the field inside, so that potential difference will depend only on that. So I can directly write that V is equal to this Q on capacitor, effectively we can assume upon C, that is Q1 minus Q2 upon 2C. So go for option D in this particular case. Next one. Conducting rod of length L is moving in a transverse field B with velocity V. The resistance of the rod is R, the current in the rod would be. So here EMF would be induced BVL, but because the loop is not completed, it's simply a rod, there would be no current because loop is not completed here. So current will be 0, EMF induced is BVL. Next. In a series LCR circuit with an AC source, R equals to 300 ohms, C and L, E RMS 50 frequency, the potential difference across the capacitor is. So let me solve first of all. What is XC? That is 1 upon omega C. Omega is 100 into C is 20, 10 to the power 6 goes up. So 1000 by 2, 1000 by 2 comes out as 500 ohms. XL, if I have to solve, XL would be 100 into 1, that is 100 ohms. So what is Z? Z you can say as R square plus XC minus XL whole square, that is 300 plus 400 square. 300 square plus 400 square, that is 500 ohms. So therefore the you can say the current flowing in the loop, RMS current flowing would be 50 upon 500, that is 1 by 10 amperes. So V across capacitor RMS value would be equals to 500 into 1 by 10, that is 50 volt you can go for. So the potential difference across the capacitor is 50 volt in this case. Acceleration due to gravity is g at the surface. Acceleration at a height 32 km above Earth's surface, because 32 is very small as compared to radius, we can directly say g would be gs 1 minus 2h by r when we go at height h smaller than radius. Very well. So gs is g you are given. So g at this height would be, you can write it like this, 1 minus 2h, 2h is 32 and this is 6400, so it is 1 by 100, so it is 0.99 g. That means it decreases by 1% as we go at a height of 32 kilometers. The change in potential energy when a body of mass m is reached to a height nr from the surface. So you say when it is at the surface the energy is minus gmm by r. When it is at a height nr it would be minus gmm r plus nr. So the change delta u, u final minus u initial. Get this minus gmm common or plus gmm common, it will become 1 by r minus 1 upon n plus 1 r. So what you have, gmm by r, you can take it common, it is n plus 1 minus 1, that is n. So it is n gmm by r, multiply and divide by r. This gm by r square becomes small g at surface, that is mg/nr. So go for option B for this particular case. This is a very straightforward case that you can remember. The solution by given at the app is wrong because they have assumed nr from the center of the earth, not from the surface. So don't do this mistake, you should be careful about it. You have a glass flask of volume 1 liter at 0 degree, leveled full of mercury. The flask and mercury are now heated to 100 degree. How much mercury will spill out if the coefficient of mercury is 1.83 and linear expansion is this much? So I remember this question as a solved example I teach my student, and I remember this answer is 15.2 centimeter cube sort of thing. Now how to do this? What we will have, the apparent gamma here would be gamma of mercury minus gamma of the glass, which is 1.82 into 10 raised to power minus 4. Gamma of glass would be thrice of alpha, that is 0.3 into 10 raised to power minus 4, that is 1.52 into 10 raised to power minus 4. Since both have the same volume, I can directly say that delta V spilling out would be the actual expansion of mercury minus actual expansion of glass. So you can do that gamma apparent, or you can, without gamma apparent, you can also write this would be gamma Hg into V naught delta T minus gamma glass into V naught delta T. That we have difference we have done, that would be 1.52 difference of the two gammas. Volume is 1 liter and delta T I can write as 100. So it comes out as 1.52 into 10 raised to power minus 2 liters. Go for option B in this particular case. Carnot engine absorbs 1000 joule of heat energy from a reservoir at 127, rejects 600 during each cycle. Efficiency of the engine and the temperature is, so it absorbs 1000, rejects 600, so work done is 400, so efficiency would be 400 upon 1000, that is 0.4 for sure, 40%. So we are left with only one choice. You can also solve for the temperature. I am not solving because only one option is there. Next, when a gas filled in a closed vessel is heated through 1 degree, the pressure increases by 0.4%. The initial temperature is, similar question came yesterday I think in JEE or in NEET. Closed vessel means volume is constant, initial temperature of the gas will be, so volume is constant we can say, and moles are constant. So P is proportional to T, so what I can say, the fractional change in pressure, percentage change in pressure is percentage change in T for a small change. So delta T is 1 upon, let's say, initial T, delta P by P is 0.4 by 100. So T comes out as 100 upon 0.4, which comes out as 250 Kelvin. Go for option A in this particular case. Now after 17 we come 18. You have a solenoid of 2.5 meter length and 2 centimeter diameter, possesses 10 turns per centimeter, current of 0.5 ampere is flowing through it. The magnetic induction it acts inside the solenoid will be, so you can directly say the magnetic field inside is mu naught Ni. So mu naught is 4 pi into 10 raised to power minus 7. N would be 10 turns per centimeter, or you can say 1000 turns per meter, and I is 0.5. So it is 4 pi into 10 raised to power minus 4 into 0.5, or you can say 2 pi into 10 raised to power minus 4 Tesla. Go for option A in this case. What we have next, a conducting loop carrying a current I is placed in uniform magnetic field pointing into the plane of the paper as shown. The loop will have a tendency to, so just see, take any small section like this, the current is flowing like this, this is ideal, and if I do that dl cross b, the dl cross b, the force acting would be like this. So the force acting would be like this, so the magnetic field at all points will exert a force like this, so it will have a it will be pushed outwards. That means it will have a tendency to go outwards. So definitely we will say it will have a tendency to expand in this case. Next one, the length of the bridge which a train 130 meter long and traveling at 45 km/h can cross in 30 seconds is. So in 30 seconds, how much distance it can travel? It would be 45 into 5 by 18 into 30. So it is 2, it is 5, that is, so it would be 750 by 2, that is 375 meter, and this 375 should be equal to length of bridge plus length of train, that is 130. Just remember, we say it enters when the front end enters and it leaves when the back end leaves. So length it has to cover is length of bridge plus 130. So length of bridge is 375 minus 130, that comes out as 245 meters. So go for C, not B, go for C. Next. Now the 21st question, particle is projected with velocity v so that the range on the horizontal plane is twice the greatest height attained. If g is the acceleration due to gravity, then its range is going to be okay. So simply we can make it out. Range u directly, if you remember, is equal to what we write as 4h tan theta, sorry, r is 4h cot theta, that is the relation that you remember. So here r is 2h, so 2h is 4h cot of theta, that means cot theta is equal to 1 by 2, or you can say tan theta is equal to 2 for this particular thing. Now what you need if g is the acceleration due to gravity, then its range is going to be, so the range you remember now, that the formula that you remember famously as 2u square sin theta cos theta by g. So it would be 2v square sin theta, tan theta is 2, that means sin theta would be 2 upon root 5, cos theta would be 1 upon root 5, and g is g, so that comes out as 4v square by 5g. That is the option, go for option A. If you do by dimensional analysis also, only one option is left, that's another thing. Next, block of metal weighing 2 kg is resting on a frictionless plane. If it is struck by a jet releasing water at a rate of 1 kg per second and a speed of 5 meter per second, the initial acceleration of the block will be. So what we can say, it is struck by a jet releasing water. So struck with, so what would be the force? Force we can say is dp by dt, that would be v relative into dm by dt. So v is 5, dm by dt is 1 kg per second, that is 5 Newton. So it is on a frictionless plane, so therefore acceleration would be f by m. So that is 2.5 meter per second square. Directly you can go for. Next one. Bullet fired into a fixed target loses half its velocity after going 3 centimeters. How much further it will penetrate before coming to rest, assuming it faces constant resistance? So what we can directly say, it has penetrated 3. So after penetrating this 3 centimeter, the velocity has become half. So I can say if this is k initial, this has become k initial by 4. So what I can say, the work done, the negative work done minus f into 3 centimeter, it is equal to minus 3 ki by 4. So now what is the additional distance it will travel? Let's say it would be d. So minus f into d would be equal to minus of ki by 4, that energy has to be lost. Divide the 2, this goes, this goes, this negative goes, this goes, this goes, this goes. Clearly d will come out as 1 centimeter. Go for option B in this particular case. Next, consider the following nuclear reaction. 200x goes to 110 plus 80. Okay, 110 plus 80, 10 is missing. If the binding energy per nucleon for x, a and b are 7.4, 8.2 and 8.1, then the energy released is. So what we can say, the binding energy of products would be 8.2 into 110 plus 8.1 into 80. So it comes out 11 2s are 22, 11 8s are 88. This is 902 plus, and this is 81 8, 8 1s are 8, 8 8s are 648. That is 0, and this is 5. This is 1550 MeV. And binding energy initial would be 7.4 into 200. 74 2s is 1480. So the difference of the two is the energy released, which is 70 MeV. You can directly go for. Next, two nuclei have the mass number in the ratio of the nuclear radii. We can say R1 by R2. You have know this famous relation, A1 by A2 to the power 1 by 3, 27 upon 125 to the power 1 by 3. All are perfect cube, that would be 3 by 5. Directly you can go for. So go for option A in this case. D, sorry. The motion of a particle executing SHM is given by this, where x is in meter, t is in second, the time period is, just compare, you can write, so directly see omega is 100 pi, so time period is 2 pi upon 100 pi, that is 1 upon 50 seconds, that is 0.02 second, again a easy one for you. Displacement of an object attached to a spring and executing SHM is given by this, the time at which maximum speed first occurs. Just look at this expression, at t equal to 0, you can make it out, it is x equal to plus a, and you know maximum speed occurs when it is at x equal to 0. So you know from plus a to 0 the time required would be equal to t by 4. So t by 4, what is t here? T is what we can say 2 pi by omega divided by 4, omega from the expression is pi, so that comes out as 1 by 2 seconds. Go for 0.5 seconds directly you can do. Next, for plane EM waves propagating in the z direction, which one of the following combinations give the possible direction for E and B field respectively? Okay, let me check. Z, we know E cross B must point towards k cap, that means. So do that E cross B here, what you will have, I cross 2I 0, I cross minus j, that is minus k, j cross I would be equal to again minus k, so minus 4k, so it is minus k, so not possible. So 2I, because generally Z we take as a plus k, so I am not taking it. Now 2I 2j, I cross j, that would be k, minus will cancel up, 4k up, and j cross I is negative, but minus will become plus 9k cap, so it is along k cap, so the option B will be right one. A light of wavelength 4000 angstrom is allowed to fall on a metal surface, work function 2, the maximum velocity of the emitted electron. So first of all, energy of photon is 1240 upon 400 eV, that comes out as 3.1 eV, and phi is 2, so directly you can say k max is E minus phi, that is 1.1 eV, so that would be equal to half m of electron into V max square. So V max comes as 2 into 1.1 into 1.6 into 10 raised to power minus 19 upon 9.1 into 10 raised to power minus 31 under root, so it comes out as 2 into 16 into 11, that is 1.76 upon 9.1 into 10 to the power 12. So what we have, we can have this 10 to the power 6, and now what we are left with, 2 into 1.76, that would be 3.52 by 9.1, so it is roughly 1 by 3 or something. So it would be less than 10 to the power 6, it would be in 10 to the power 5. So if I take it as 10 to the power 5 and take that inside, that would be 352 upon 9.1. So it would be around 40, I can make it out, because 9 4 is 360, so it would be slightly lesser than 40, so it would be 6 point something. That is the most clear cut option I will go for. So go for option C here. Just go do this approximation. Next, a horizontal pipeline carries water in streamline flow at a point where the area is 10 centimeter square, velocity is 1, and pressure is this. The pressure of the point at another point where the cross sectional area is this. Because it is horizontal pipe, height doesn't matter, so I can directly say P1 plus half rho V1 square would be equal to P2 plus half rho V2 square, that is the Bernoulli equation. And because the cross sectional area has become 5 times, you can half, sorry, the speed will become double because AV is also constant. So what I can write, 2000 plus half, because it is water, 10 to the power 3 into 1 square would be equal to P2 plus half into 10 to the power 3, and speed will become double, so 2 square will be 4. So P2 would be 2000 plus 10 to the power 3 by 2, it would be 1 minus 4, that is minus 3. So 2000 minus 3000 by 2, that is 1500, so it would be 500 Pascal. Go for option C in this case. Next, coaxial cylinder made of glass is immersed in a liquid of surface tension S. Okay, the radius of the inner and outer RT height till it will rise is going to be. So what is the height it will rise? So we have done such question before in some paper. What we will do, take it like this. So what we can say, like consider this to the surface, whatever it would be. So it would be somewhere here. So and contact in this surface, this will push it upwards in the limiting case. So the force acting on this part would be, what we can say, force would be 2 pi r1 into s, and that on the other part would be 2 pi r2 into s. So the pressure difference created would be force upon area, and effective area, if we take of this in between area, would be, this would be 2 pi r1 plus r2 into s, and area would be pi r2 square minus r1 square. So this pressure change would be 2 pi s upon pi into r2 minus r1, and this would be balanced by rho g h. So h would be 2s upon rho g r2 minus r1. So go by this option D in this particular case. You could directly go for this. Next, at what distance from a convex lens of focal length 30 centimeter an object should be placed so the side of the image be the half of the object? So image side should be half. So we know in the virtual case it becomes it's a magnified image, so it cannot be virtual, it could be a real case only. So answer would be greater than 30 for sure. And you can say for the lesser image it should be beyond 2f. So beyond 2f means it should be greater than 60. So I can directly go out of the options from 90. Otherwise you can solve also. Let me solve it for you also. Let's say, so for the lens what we have, it is half of the object. So magnification you know is equal to v by u, that is 1 by 2 here, and applying the equation 1 upon v minus 1 upon u is equal to 1 upon f. So writing v is equals to 1 by v equals to 2 by u. So it would be 1 by u would be equal to 1 by f. So what we are left with, this choice, this choice is half, sorry it should be minus half, that should I do because it would be a real image, it would be inverted one. So I can write 1 by v is equals to minus 2 by u, so it becomes minus 3 by u. So u becomes minus 3f, that is minus 90 centimeters or 90 centimeters you can go. Next, a thin prism with angle 4 degree made from glass of this index combined with another prism P2 of this index to produce dispersion without deviation. So deviation will be 0. So deviation you directly write as mu minus 1a. So both should be same. So both should be in opposite direction and should be same. That should be you should do. So 0.54 into 4 would be equal to 0.72 into a2. So a2 comes out as 54 into 4 upon 72, 18 table. Yes, 18 table. If I do, this is 3, this is 4. So that would be 3 degree. I can directly go for option C in this case. Next one, the MI of a solid cylinder about its axis is given by this. If the cylinder rolls without slipping, the ratio of its rotational kinetic to its translational. So what we can say, that translational you write as a half mv square, the rotational you write as half I is mr square by 2 into omega is v by r whole square, that is 1 by 4 mv square. So k rotational to k translational would be 1 by 2. Directly you can go for this option C here. A force is acting at a point, the value of A for which angular momentum is conserved. So for angular momentum to be conserved, torque must be 0. That means R should be parallel to F. So for parallel condition, A by 2 should be equal to 3 upon minus 6 is 6 upon minus 12. These are already equal. So you go for this. A comes out as minus 1. So go for option C. So you know for parallel or anti-parallel, parallel means both 0 degree or 180 degree cases, and here because the ratio is negative, they will be opposite to each other, but the torque still will be 0. The input to the digital circuit are given below, the output Y is going to be. Okay. So again it's a Boolean one. Again I don't go by Boolean one, I'll go by my tried and tested expression that I call as truth table one. So let it be 0 0 0. So 0 and 0 will give 1, but this will give 1, so this will be 1. So all 0 will give me 1. So this gives all 0 as 1. This won't give all 0 as 1. This won't give all 0 as 1. No, this will give, sorry. This will give and this will also give. Okay. So next what we can do, take all 3 1. That would be a better case. 1 1 1 1 1. So what we will have, this is what we have. This is a, what we say, it is a NAND gate, so it would be 0. It would be 0, so 0 and 0 will be 0. So for all 3 to be 1, it should be 0. So this rejects, and this also rejects. So only are left with C option. So go for option C just by truth table 1. And for the Boolean, doing 3 is not that easy. You can do if you are good in it. Next, the part of the transistor which is most heavily doped to produce a large number of majority carriers. This is the easiest one. maximum doped is emitter because it has to supply the carriers for conduction. Power radiated by a body is P naught, black body, and the wavelength corresponding is lambda naught. On changing the temperature, it is observed that the power radiated becomes 256 by 81, the shift in wavelength. So what we can directly say, so this P final is 256 upon 81 times P naught, and we know this P ratio depends on temperature to the power 4, that is 256 upon 81 into T naught to the power 4. So TF becomes, if I take the root 1 by 4, this is 4 by 3 of T naught. So temperature has become 4 by 3, so from Wien's law lambda mt is constant, so that becomes 3/4. So that would be 3/4. That means from lambda naught it shifts to 3 lambda by naught by 4, so shift would be minus lambda naught by 4. You can directly go for option C. Find the dimension of root mu naught by epsilon naught. Now this is a nice little thing that is being asked to you. Dimension, you know, 1 upon mu naught epsilon naught, you are very much familiar, but how to go for this particular one? So let's do by that only. We know root of 1 upon mu naught epsilon naught has a dimension of LT minus 1. So what I can do with this, I can write it as 1 upon mu naught epsilon naught divided by epsilon naught square, that is epsilon naught into this root of 1 upon mu naught epsilon naught. So this is, I know, LT minus 1. Now this dimension I need to find out. So what is the dimension of epsilon naught? You know, force is equal to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught q square by r square. So epsilon naught dimension would be q square upon f r square. If I do this, q is a2 t2, f is mlt minus 2, so it becomes ml3 t minus 2, so it becomes m minus 1 L minus 3 t minus 4 a2, sorry, t plus 4 a2, and this by LT minus 1. So the required answer would be m minus 1, all options, L minus 2. So this is only one option I am left with, and if I do that, t3 a2, that is okay. So this is option C. Beam of light of 600 nanometer from a distant source falls on a slit 1 mm wide, resulting diffraction on screen 2 meter away. Distance between the first dark fringes on either side, that means the width of central maxima that is being asked. So it is 2 lambda L by A, lambda is 600 into 10 to the power minus 9, length of the screen is 2 and the distance of the screen is 2, and this is 10 to the power minus 3. So this is 9, 3 and 2, 5, so 10 to the power minus 4 and 24. So I can directly go for 2.4 millimeters, that is the answer. I'll go for 2.4 millimeters, go for option D. Next one. Parallel beam of mono light is incident normally on a slit. The refraction is observed on a screen placed at the focal plane of a convex lens. Okay, the slit width is increased, the central maxima of the diffraction pattern will. So if you increase the slit width, we did that this central maxima angular width would be 2 lambda by A. So if slit width is increased, the central maxima will definitely become narrower, and it will be more brighter in this particular case, because the more light will reach, intensity will definitely increase in that case. Next one. Wave pulse is traveling on a string of linear mass density 6.4 into 10 to the power minus 3 under a load of 80 kilogram force, that means 800 Newton. Just remember this. Calculated travel distance of length is. So we know is root t by mu, that is 800 by 6.4. I can do 10 to the power 3. So what it becomes, this is 100 upon 0.8, or I can write 1000 upon 8 into 1000. So it comes out as 1000 divided by root 8 meter per second. So the time would be distance upon speed, so 0.7 into root 8 upon 1000. So it is 8 would be 2 root 2. 2 root 2 is 2 into 1.4 into 0.7 into 10 raised to power minus 3 seconds. I can go. So 2 into 1.4 would be, I can make it out, is equal to, and this is 2.8 into 0.7. This is approximately going to be 2 into 10 raised to power minus 3 second out of the option. So go for option A here. Next one. It takes 2 seconds for a sound wave to travel between two fixed points for a day temperature 10 degree. If the temperature rises to 30, the sound wave travels between the same fixed point as. Again, you know, temperature is increased, so speed is increased, so time taken will decrease. So time will decrease, so it would be lesser than 2. So go for option A, 1.9. That is the only option which is lesser, no need to solve. The relation between the force and the position of the body is as shown. The work done in displacing from 1 to 5 will be, we can say work done is equal to integration f dx, that is area under the curve, between this. So area calculate, this is negative, this is positive. So how much this is? So this triangle area is half 10 into 1, that is 5. This is 10 and this is again 5. 5, yes it is 5 into 1, that is 5, and this is minus 5 and this is plus 5. But read it carefully, we have to calculate from 1 to 5, so this won't be included, we need to include this area. So it would be 10 plus 5, this goes, so overall work will be 15 joule in this particular case. That initial 5 should not be taken because that would be from 0 to 5. Particle is projected vertically upward with 16. After some time it again passes through the point of projection. Speed reduces to 8. That means there is a resistance, yes, is upward and in downward motion. As during upward and downward motion, it is found that the work done by air resistance is the same during both. Okay, then the maximum height attained by the particle is. So what we can say, what is the total loss? The total loss, delta K loss or delta E loss, you can directly say that would be half m 16 square minus 8 square, that would be equal to 256 minus 64 by 2 times m, you can directly say. So that is basically what we can make it out. This loss is equal to, this is coming out as 192 by 2 m, that is 96 m, that is the loss. So that means the loss in the first part would be 48 m and the second part would also be 48 m. So going for the upward motion, what we can write, we can say work done by this drag or this resistance force would be delta Ug plus delta K. So delta Ug is gain, that is mgh, delta K is the loss. That loss will be equal to minus half m into 16 square, and this work done is 48 m. So it is mgh minus this 128 m, that is equal to 48 m. So what we are left with, 128 plus 48 if we do, so 128, this is negative, sorry, so 128 minus 48 you should do. So 128 minus 48 is 80 m is equal to mgh. So here h comes out as 8 meter, taking g as 10. So go for option A here. So that is the answer here. So it's a nice question that is asked as a last question. Thanks for watching. Keep sharing the channel. Thank you once again.